Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is, by the way, for those who are just tuning in and don't know who I am, this is Nick from forexfornoobs.com. And today we're going to do some daily analysis. Today is Thursday, the 14th of June, 2018. Time is 11:02 here in the UK. You're looking at a AUD JPY. You're looking at an AUD JPY daily chart. More space on the chart. All right. Yeah, that was a pretty poor intro, but basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for price action setups today. And we're going to be discussing yesterday's price action setups. Yesterday I entered 2 trades. Not sure what you guys did around the FOMC time. Did anyone enter trades for during the or just before FOMC, like some of the trades we discussed yesterday, potentially? All right, well, we'll look at those trades anyway, but let's get started. We're going to look for some new trades today, and I'll discuss the trades I got in. And yeah, we'll go from there. So, AUD JPY, I mean, there's not really that much going on here. It's bounced away from this resistance area. I vaguely remember some people were in short on this one, weren't they? I think some people were short on this pair. Well, I mean, if you were, it's going well, so that's great. But there's no setup there right now. So let's go over to AUD New Zealand. AUD New Zealand just continuing down through the support area, but yeah, there's no actual setup there. AUD USD. I got in short on this one. Yes, sorry, not short. I meant to say long on this one. Yesterday, I had quite a wide stop loss, so I didn't get stopped out by that crazy boom spike kind of thing. It just went bam, and it spiked down, and then it spiked up, and then it just did all kinds of crazy stuff with the FOMC. To be honest, I was expecting post FOMC for it to rise a lot quicker. I wasn't expecting that big downward spike, but you know, as always, when trading with news or through major news, you need to be careful. That's why I had a wider stop loss on this one, which I discussed yesterday, having this stop loss. I think my stop loss ended up being just a bit tighter than what I said it would be yesterday, but we're only talking like a few pips tighter, so it was pretty much the same stop loss as I mentioned yesterday. And yeah, it prevented me from getting stopped down on this trade. Let's break it down to like the hourly. You can see spiked up, boom, shot down. I ended up just closing out this with a very, very... wait, my entry wasn't here, though. My entry was lower than that. The reason my entry was placed up here was because that's what we were discussing yesterday, and I think yesterday price was around there, but my entry ended up being lower. Anyway, the point is, I closed this one out with at pretty much break even. I think I lost a few pips on this one. I just didn't want to keep it open because it just wasn't looking that good after the FOMC. It didn't do what I wanted it to do. It didn't start moving up after. Instead, it moved down, and then it kind of like just stalled out at this resistance area. So it just didn't look that great to me. I just closed this one out. One of the most important parts of trading is preserving your capital, not winning trades, not making money. It's preserving the money you have. And in this case, I just thought if I stay in this trade, probably going to hit my stop loss. There's a good chance it's going to hit my stop loss. So I pulled out of this one. Anyone take this long on AUD USD yesterday? We were discussing it in the webinar, and then post-webinar, I talked to a few of you guys, and well, I'm not sure if there was people in the webinar, but just in general, I talked to a few members, and no one seemed too hot on the idea of trading taking this trade. I don't think many people went into this one. No? All right, fair enough. Right, so EURAUD, what's going on with EURAUD? This one's actually quite interesting. It's starting to trend up. It's now hitting this resistance area. So if we look at this resistance area, it's quite a strong area if you look at past bounces from it. And right now, we're already seeing signs of price stalling on it. So, you know, price is stalling right here. That could be a sign that indecision is forming. I mean, it's too early to say. What we need to do with this one is just wait until at least maybe the 12-hour. I want to see how this 12-hour closes. This might end up being a tradable short on the 12-hour. This is a pretty strong resistance area. It started to move up, but this could just be a pullback in the overall bearish trend. So there's definite potential to take a short here. I'm going to keep a very close eye on this one. I'm looking for a short on EURAUD. We'll go into more detail towards the end of the analysis. EURAUD GBP is messy, as it has been for some time now. It just doesn't look good for any trades. It's just too messy, too jumpy. It's going up, down, up, down, up, down all over the place. I don't really see it as a safe pair to trade at the moment. Well, for me personally, it's not a safe pair, but you know, each to their own with their trading. EURAUD. There was a few of you long on this one, right? I remember Ash was long on this one. I don't know if Ash is here today. It doesn't look like Ash is here. Wait, I'm just going through the list of people who are here. And no. Or the list of people who... Yeah, alright, I don't think Ash is here. Never mind, it's not important. But I think Ash was long on this one. That's why we marked it yesterday, so we could come back to it today. Looks like it's going quite well. I think Ash had his target down here, if I recall. So he's probably already hit target. If I was in this trade, my target would have been a bit more ambitious, to be honest. So it wouldn't be hit yet. So my target would have been like maybe somewhere up here, something like that. But anyway, looking good. Good work to Ash. Congratulations. And to anyone else who took this trade. I'm going to keep it marked. We'll just keep an eye on it, see how it progresses next week. GBPUSD, yeah, nothing much going on there. It's just in between support resistance, so there's nothing that I'd want to trade there. GBPJPY, this one's just stalling out on this resistance area. So it's in the middle of a pretty heavy downtrend right now. Some people are arguing that the downtrend is over because we got this kind of like tiny break above the resistance area, the trend line. This is why I'm not a big fan of trend lines, because trend lines are so iffy. Trading them, trading breaks of trend lines, it's just so tricky, because this could easily go down here, and then this trend line will be redrawn to there, and it'll still look like a pretty good trend line. You redraw it, and then you're like, well, that has 3 bounces. 4 if you want to count this, which didn't quite touch it but came close. So that's always my problem with trading trend lines. It's always a bit tricky. It's easy to think, oh, this trend line's broken, I'm going to go long. But then, has it broken? Really? Who knows? Anyway, my point is, I think someone was saying that they're thinking about going long, or they're long on it. Was it your... I wouldn't trade this situation. This is not the kind of trade I like to take. The only way I like to trade this kind of stuff is on lower time frames, but I'm not sure about this one specifically, but let's have a look. Generally speaking, when you get moves like this compressing on top of a resistance area or a support area, if you were to drop down to the 5 minute, all it looks like is a pretty tight range. Yeah, actually it does work in this area. So we could draw maybe some horizontal range lines kind of here and oops, here. So on the 5 minute, you could scalp this range, which is quite effective usually when price falls into a tight range. You can't be very strict with it hitting actually touching that top resistance area, and your stop losses need to be quite generous. But yeah, these kind of like when price compresses on top of a support resistance area, you're usually looking at trading that range on the 5 or 15 minute chart. The 1 hour or the 4 hour, yeah, I mean you could theoretically, but it just gets a little bit. It just depends on the situation. Depends on how long it's been ranging, because the lower the time frame, the easier it is to see the range. So right now on the 1 hour, we can already see that it's harder to see that price is in a range. You can still see it, mostly because I've drawn the lines there. But if we were to go up to the 4 hour, I think you'll already start, yeah, see? Like you can't really tell that it's ranging properly anymore. So the lower time frames are generally better. Even the 30 minute sometimes is good. But I tend to just go down to the 5 minute for my scalp trading. It's a bit more exciting. There's a lot more happening. It's just lots of fun trading the 5 minute. For me personally, it's a lot of fun, but it's not for everyone. A lot of people will find themselves more comfortable on the 15 minute just because it gives you a little bit more time to think and make decisions. So it just comes down to the person a lot of the times. But anyway, GBP, JPY, I mean, yeah, nothing that I'd want to trade here. There's not on the large time frames anyway. All right, GBPUSD. GBPUSD has reapproached this resistance area and it's stalling out at this resistance area now. I'm gonna pull this resistance area up a tad. I mean, it's a decent resistance area, I guess. It's not that great. Has some bounces in the past, but yeah, recently it's not been that great. I mean, yeah, we could potentially look for a short continuation here. Let's keep an eye on it, but I'm not that bothered with this, to be honest. I'm just trying to keep track of what we have marked. New Zealand JPY, as usual, there's nothing really happening on this pair. It's just messy. New Zealand USD, this one has just been bouncing away from this resistance area for quite some time. It just, sorry, not bouncing, like stalling from and pulling away and coming back, but not like a full bounce, just kind of like pulling away a little bit and then coming back. It's like it's magnetized to this resistance area. This kind of like compression type stuff, again, is something I would trade on the lower time frames, not on this time frame, or not on any of these larger time frames. USD CAD. Now, I was looking for a short yesterday with USD CAD. Was looking for a short from this resistance area up here, or maybe even slightly below it, like just somewhere around there. I actually had an entry placed here, but it just was never hit. I thought maybe, I can't remember where it was. Anyway, it was higher than this spike up because it was never hit, unfortunately. I was looking for shorts across all these pairs, as I explained yesterday, because I'm pretty convinced that the USD is losing strength, and that the news that we had yesterday, the planned rate hike, that it was just it was already priced in. So I was thinking the gains that the US dollar has made are going to evaporate post FOMC, which looks like I was right about, technically speaking, but it just never hit my entry, unfortunately. Same goes for USD CHF. I was hoping for it to push up to around. Sorry, that's my cats fighting. I was hoping for it to push up to here, but it just never quite happened. It didn't get high enough. But USD JPY, that one got high enough. That one pushed up to that one got like pushed up so much compared to the others from this spike up that it triggered me into the trade. So I'm short on this one, which is already at, I think my stop's a bit tighter than that, but it's already at 1 to 2. Something like that. It's already at 1 to 2, so I'm already considering, let's go back to, I'm already considering getting out of this one. I think I probably am going to hold it though. You guys know me, I just don't like holding trades over the weekend. So that's why I'm considering getting out. But this is a longer term trade really. So I might just stay in. We'll just see how it plays out. This is one of those trades that we were talking about at the start of the year, where we're changing up the way we trade a little bit in the course. We're becoming a bit more flexible. So this is essentially a more flexible trade, which there will be videos on this kind of trade soon. Involves like a bit of news, but it's also in a downtrend. So it's kind of a continuation, but I kind of got lucky, really. I mean, I kind of got really lucky with this one because this one wasn't anywhere like it didn't pan out like I was planning at all. What I wanted to see with this one was a nice steady move up before the FOMC, nice steady move up. Then after that report came out, I wanted it to go boom and start pushing down. Instead, what happened is it did have that nice steady move up, but that move up panned out like it did on USD CHF, like it did on USD CAD. Then it started moving down. But then when the FOMC came out, it spiked up. So I only got in because this was an automatic entry. I was only triggered in because of that report. Not because, I was like, oh, this is a great time to get in. This trade didn't pan out the way I wanted it to, but in the end, it's still a good trade. So it's not like I'm complaining. It's just, this is just the reality of trading. Sometimes it happens this way. Sometimes you have a plan, but the market doesn't care about your plans. The market doesn't care. The market does its own thing. And sometimes when it does its own thing, it works out in your favor. Sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor. If the market had pushed up to here like I'd planned, then it's very possible that that spike that came from FOMC would have stopped me out and then it would have continued down. So it could have very easily been a negative situation for me. I just kind of got, I'd like to say it was all skill, but I have to admit some of this was luck. I guess there was an element of skill involved because I was expecting this move to happen post FOMC. It just didn't happen in the kind of order that I was expecting, let's say. So yeah, I missed out on USD CHF because my my entry was too high. Missed out on USD CAD because my entry was too high. But I kind of got lucky with USD JPY because my entry was just right. And because it spiked up enough to hit that entry. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm happy with that. Well, I am happy with that. So yeah, AUD USD was closed out pretty much at break even. It was only a few pips loss, but nothing significant. And USD JPY still open, considering closing out, but that's just usually the way I feel on Thursdays. I don't really like having trades open over the weekend, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, let's wrap things up. I'm going to clear those. I'm going to go to the flagged list. All right, Euro USD, we're just keeping an eye on this because I want to see how it plays out for those of you who are in it. USD JPY, we're keeping an eye on that, obviously for myself. Is anyone short on USD JPY, by the way? And Euro AUD. Now this one looks interesting today. It's pushing up against this resistance area. It's very possible that this is just going to go boom straight through. But I am definitely looking for a short here. If price stalls out on the 12-hour, like it looks like it might, like it looks possible. If price stalls out on the 12-hour and then a new candle forms, so the next 12-hour candle, and it starts pushing down, I'm going to probably, well, it is Thursday though, but I will be looking for a short. I'm definitely looking for a short on this. Ideally, that short would be opened on Monday though, if it's possible. So we would need to see kind of like 2 12-hour candles, 3 12-hour candles, or maybe like a daily candle stalling out on this resistance area. Let's just see what happens at this resistance area, but I'm definitely open to taking a short here. GBPUSD, this one, I'm considering taking a short here. It's pushing up against this resistance area. It's failed at this resistance area. My biggest problem with this is just the risk to reward ratio. Last time it pushed down, it took a while and it didn't really get down very far before it came back. So, you know, if it gets back down to around here, or like, I know the wicks push down to here, but, you know, usually the bodies are where it stalls out when it attempts to push down. So if it gets back down here, you know, that's not going to be enough to hit my target. So I'm not too sure about that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait and see how the 12-hour pans out. So looking at the 12-hour chart, if it stalls here, I'll be looking for a trade. I mean, it is trending down overall. So there is some potential for a short trade. Any questions, guys? All right, well, I'm going to give you guys like an extra. GBP/JPY is good for a short, right? I'm not saying it's not good for a short. There's a discussion on the forum about this one right now that you might want to check out, Sharon. It's just in the trades section of the forum. I'm not going to enter short just because it's way too messy. But there are definitely some people who want to enter short here. It is trending down. In my opinion, it's trending down. Well, we talked about this at the start of the webinar, but I'm guessing you missed it. In my opinion, it's still trending down. Some people are saying that the trend is broken. Simply because if you draw the trend line, you'll see that it's pushed above that trend line now. Some people are saying that the trend is broken. I'm not convinced that the trend is broken. Trend lines are always tricky because you just change the angle a little bit and it changes everything about that trend line. So I'm not convinced that this trend's broken. In my opinion, this is still trending down right now. So a short from here would be a continuation trade, which generally speaking is a better kind of, well, not better, but just a higher probability setup. Continuations are better probability, higher probability of hitting your target than you get with a reversal, for example. So it's a medium risk setup. My thing against it is it's messy. If we were to drop down to a lower time frame, you can see what I mean by it's messy. It's just stalling on this resistance area. It's had several attempts at pushing down. So we could see indecision here. It tried to push down, it failed, came straight back up. Tried to push down again, it failed. And all we're seeing right now is indecision. We're not seeing decision. We're not seeing price or bears have decided or put in enough sells to start pushing price down. We're not seeing that. We're just seeing undecided price action. We're seeing an attempt to move down, countered by an attempt to move up, countered by an attempt to move down. And that kind of price action, to me personally, is not indicative of let's take a short trade because sellers are, or bears are in control of price. So I'm a bit apprehensive to throw in short on this one. I'd want to wait for a push down beyond these lows. You know, once price gets down beyond these lows. But then the problem with that is if you're entering short beyond those lows, then you've got a short entry here, stop loss here, and where's your target going to go? Your target can be down here, which will give you a good risk to reward ratio, but you know, it's Thursday today. Is it going to reach down there by Friday? If you want to get out by Friday, probably not. Unlikely, very unlikely. You know, it might reach down here by Friday. That's going to give you a 1.4 risk reward ratio, which just isn't that great. It just doesn't look that appealing to me. So there is definite good potential for a short. It is, technically speaking, turning into a short setup. It just depends on how much risk you're willing to take. For me, this trade's just a bit too risky. It's not something that I'm crazy about. We'll mark it anyway, and we'll come back to it on Monday, see how it's panned out. I'm more interested in GBPUSD than I am GBPJPY, but most of all, I'm interested in EURAUD. I want to see what happens at this resistance area. It's quite a strong move now, so it could very well push through it, but if it does stall here, this will be a nice opportunity for a short trade. And I'm, of course, interested in seeing how USD-JPY pans out. Are there any other questions, guys? Looks like people are pretty quiet today. Not many people talking, so I think we'll wrap this one up. Thank you guys for attending, and I'll see you for next week's webinars. Also, obviously, see you guys on the forum. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys, and I'll see you later.